Every modern data center and AI model requires a foundation that is entirely physical. Behind the software transition is a massive industrial requirement: the extraction and processing of raw metals. Silver is the most conductive element on Earth, both electrically and thermally. This physical property has shifted silver's market profile. While it retains a role as a financial hedge, the majority of global demand is now driven by industrial applications. The manufacturing of photovoltaic cells for the solar industry requires millions of ounces of silver paste to create conductive contacts. Simultaneously, the electronics and AI sectors rely on silver-based coatings for printed circuit boards and server circuitry to maintain high-speed connections. Industrial manufacturing now accounts for 55% to 58% of all global silver demand. The ambitions of the clean energy and AI sectors are effectively limited by the extraction rates of a single metal. In 2024, total global silver demand reached an estimated 1.18 billion ounces. During that same period, global mine production remained stagnant, reaching only 847 million ounces. This chart shows estimated global supply and demand for silver through 2026. Values in the market deficit column are consistently negative, indicating consumption has outpaced production for years. The 2026 projection indicates we are entering our sixth consecutive year of a structural supply deficit. To maintain current industrial operations, 760 million ounces of silver have been drained from global physical vaults in the last 5 years. The technological economy is currently functioning by depleting finite historical stockpiles, a trajectory that is mathematically unsustainable. Despite silver prices reaching $121 an ounce in early 2026, global mine production has not increased to meet the demand. This lack of response is due to a concept known as the inelasticity of byproduct supply. Approximately 70% of global silver is not mined directly. It's a secondary byproduct gathered while digging for lead, zinc, and copper. Because silver extraction is tied to base metal economics, supply remains largely blind to demand shocks from the technology sector. High prices did trigger a 13-year high in secondary recycling as consumers sold jewelry and scrap. However, even with record recycling levels, total global supply only reached roughly 1 billion ounces. Recycling is a finite loop. It cannot generate enough new material to bridge the gap toward a 1.18 billion ounce requirement. Silver supply is structurally inelastic. The price can increase, but the physical bottleneck remains. Beyond the geological limits, there is a question of who controls the existing silver supply. Mexico is the world's leading producer, responsible for 24% of global output, while Peru holds 22% of known reserves. However, extraction is only the first step. The midstream choke point is the refining industry. China has established itself as the global leader in refining, using state-backed industrial strategies to secure the metal for its own manufacturing base. In contrast, domestic refining and mining expansion in the United States has been limited by local environmental resistance. By opting out of the local impacts of mining and refining, the U.S. has ceded control of a critical industrial supply chain to foreign nations. The United States is the world's largest consumer of refined silver. Maintenance of domestic solar, automotive, and electronic infrastructure requires 6,400 metric tons, or 205.8 million ounces, every year. This balance sheet compares U.S. consumption to domestic production. Our mines and recycling efforts combined only provide about 2,300 metric tons. This results in a 64% net import reliance for the United States. To sustain its economy, the U.S. must import a net total of 130.5 million troy ounces of silver annually. The day-to-day function of the American economy is now structurally dependent on foreign-controlled physical material. This physical deficit translates directly into a financial penalty. By mid-2026, silver prices consolidated in a volatile range between $72 and $85 per ounce. When we multiply our annual shortfall by these market prices, the result is a yearly capital drain of $9.4 to $11.1 billion. This capital leaves the country, flowing toward the nations currently handling the mining and metallurgy, specifically Mexico, Peru, and China. This is the cost of living on the trailing side of abundance. The U.S. pays a premium for resources it no longer produces domestically. Relying on foreign industrial infrastructure imposes a perpetual $11 billion sovereign penalty just to secure the physical materials necessary to sustain a modern lifestyle.